stamp or not to stamp is the $13 billion question we are talking about this morning on Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Bergio, and Mark Novak. $13 billion, Mark. That's some big money.
Is the government going to give it away?
I'd like to see it come back, but is it necessary for that much? Because stamp duty has not been re-looked at since the stamp duty we're on now was set in 1986 when the median price was only 100,000. It's risen by 1,000%. The median price now is $1 million, and stamp duty is still the same. What do you think, Mark?
I think the reason why that's important is when they looked at the tables in 1986, they looked at the median price in Australia being 100K. Now, that price being 100K, they then said, okay, well, we're going to levy at the lowest percentage, something like 1.5%. We're going to levy majority of Australians on the 100K. But then if there's an Australian that's doing a deal over 500K, well, we're going to hit them real hard. And if there's an Australian that's doing a deal over $1 million, well, we're going to sledgehammer them because they're the ultra wealthy in Sydney. Now that was great back then. It worked for the people back then, but they never reevaluated those stamp duty scales. Those scales that we're using are absolutely ancient.
Mark, I'll bring up the scale and show everyone what it was when they said it. If everyone can see, it'll come up in the screen now. Like, look where it even started. Like these days in pricing for property, you wouldn't even, like you're over the scale. Nothing like, basically the second highest tier is where nearly every property is at. Guys, so when the median price was set, look at that. That's where it was, where the median was. So basically, with a property purchase in 86, they wanted to tax you $2,000, $2,000 basically. But now everything's here.
Yeah, that's just
they probably didn't even. I don't even know. I would have liked to probably brought up what you bought for $1 million, $1 to $3 million in 86, just to see that relevancy. Because if we said to you, we're buying a property for $1 million, and you're like, dirt, like that's normal. Our top extreme is probably 15. I reckon our top tier would be 10 million, in my view, 10, 12 million. Now, I just want to Mark, we want to make it clear, we're not saying stamp duty is bad. We're not saying take stamp duty away. We're just bringing to everyone's attention where it is, because there was an article on Sunday about it, and stamp duty brought $13 billion to our economy, our tax. My view is we need it. But I also
we've just gone
think
into
it needs
debt
to be
$330 billion. We've just gone into debt $330 billion. So we need to make sure we're paying that debt back.
Yeah, and I think a big stimulus for the economy moving forward will be through property. If we're not getting tourism, we're not getting students. I think tourism and students and besides minerals and everything there, are our biggest revenue raisers. So we're basically getting rid of that. So the main income stream is going to be through property. So maybe
look at that percentage, guys. That's really interesting, because you can see that the majority of Australians in 1986, when a median was 100K, where they sat right in that little little pocket there. So it's a little bit irresponsible that they haven't. I don't know if you call it that. It's really not fair that they haven't reevaluated that table in such a long time. So I reckon, Michael, what's going to happen, and I'd love to hear what people watching think, but I've got a feeling that the government will maybe adjust those tables because I think they're just starting to look a little bit silly.
Well, can you imagine a business that hasn't readjusted or evaluated in 1986? Will they even still be here? Imagine if we
outrage. There'd be absolute outrage. There'd be uproar over it. So I think there's a duty there that government's got to make a consideration. Now, whether that consideration is going to be money in people in our pockets or not in our pockets, and look, either way, I think that money we've got to be the money goes full circle anyway.
Well, good point.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Luke, yeah.
It's not being buried. The money's not being buried. If you're paying a crap load on stamp duty, yes, it's going into the government coffers, but yes, it's coming back to the community. So the money's not being buried or burnt. The money's just circulating back through the government and back to the people. But you know,
Rohan, thank you for sharing. If anyone's out there thinks they can get value from what we're discussing today, please please share. Luke, love the comments. What would Sydney house prices be if you reduced or removed? I wouldn't recommend reducing. Now, the thing is, Mark, it's like anything. You reduce it, but that will stimulate more property purchases, and then you'll probably end up getting more than 13 billion because more people will be inclined to buy just from the stigma of it coming down. If they hear they're reducing, it's going to be huge, but not if they say they're going to reduce and they wait 6 months to do it, and then the market will pause because everyone goes, well, I'm going to wait till they do it. So the worst thing would be the speculation of it being reduced and it doesn't be reduced. So I'm conscious of that. You don't want to start the rumor mill of it being reduced and then it doesn't get reduced.
So you reckon the concept of the market could be more transactional if that barrier to entry was lower because of stamp duty?
100%. You see it. Okay. You see it all the time with McDonald's, Domino's. They all lower their key product and then they sell other stuff. So it would be I reckon it'll be, and that model of I'm going to buy the pizza that was $10 now for $5, but then you buy 3 garlic breads and they make their money there. I can almost guarantee it'll be a lot more transactional just from that consumer mindset.
More transactional, but I've got to admit a great thing about Sydney property is Sydney property is proven to be resilient. I speak about Sydney property because I know it best, but no disrespect to any other state,
no,
or rural or anything, but
or territory, anything.
But it is more resilient. Now, part of that resilience is because it's the barriers of entry and the barriers of exit are high. So a bit like a stock, you know how you saw stock free fall within 24 hours? 36%. People don't make that decision to do that with property as a stock or asset class because it is just so expensive to get back into another property. And obviously because of capital gains tax as well. So I think there are merits on having the barriers of entry high, and there's merits of having the barrier of exit high because it makes it as safe as houses.
Lisa Novak Jones asks, good morning. Luke, what about Sydney affordability? I think if it did happen, it's just going to be the exact. I don't feel any sector would profit more than others. So I think it would stay like the price would go up, yes, everywhere. So I think we're still going to have the same entry levels. But then if you're out at area Sydney, would go from 400 to 5. It would be a bit harder in the rural. Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, look, they may have a metro stamp duty, they may have a rural stamp duty. I don't know, but I think that there's definitely there. Look, I think if you think nothing's going to happen with stamp duty, you're probably going to have rocks in your head when you look at the data we went through today, right? So something's going to happen, but I think that you've also got to consider, like what we spoke about earlier, that it's a big revenue raiser. But I think I reckon what they're going to do is stamp duty, and this is purely speculating, is they're going to customize it a little bit more for people, so there's a bit more fairness around stamp duty.
It's true. Where is it? I'm just putting the articles what we shared into the comments, so people can have a look at them as well, because it's quite interesting.
And you know what else I reckon? I reckon what else may happen, Michael, is that the ultra wealthy, I think they may even introduce something over $5 million. Whereas if you're transacting over 5 million, well, then you're paying a bigger stamp duty again. But I think for the majority of Australians that are sitting, if they mirrored the way that stamp duty you showed this morning and you put that link in there, the way that was indexed, the fairest way would be to mirror that indexing off median pricing today. So, but I think they'd be giving away a lot of income. You'd be probably down to 6 billion instead of 13 billion. So if you took, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But I think we can all agree that anything that was introduced in 1986 needs to be revised, period.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Especially if you're using a median.
Yeah,
if you're using a median from 1986,
yeah, I think regardless of where stamp duty goes, even if they index it the same, just into the new scale, fair enough. As long because, like we've done through coronavirus, Mark, they're the experts. They get in a room, work it all out a lot more than we have access to, and a lot more data. So whatever they say, you just go with it. But having nothing done, no reform. Not so good.
I think it just makes them look dumb if they don't touch it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying touch it, so bring it down, get rid of it.
Yes.
Or I'm not saying put it up, but I'm just saying I think it looks really dumb to be having a 1986 scale that's indexed off the median pricing in 1986.
100,000.
34 years. Yeah, 100K. It's changed 100%. I can sell you a
storage unit for $100,000. I can sell you basically only a storage unit.
You can't buy a property in Sydney.
Yeah.
You can't buy a property in Sydney for, a fraction of that. So, it's nuts. It's bloody nuts. Anything else on stamp duty you want to talk about?
I think that covers most of it.
Stay tuned. I know the industry's lobbying to have it changed. We know it's a big income earner. So stay tuned, guys. Michael,
stay tuned, Mark.
Have a great day.
Yes.
Hope everyone had a good weekend. How good is this weather?
Perfect weather. Open homes and auctions back on. Is that this week?
To touch on
just quickly, for everyone watching. Mark, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah. So the Minister of Health at 8 o'clock yesterday did a press release talking about our industry, that we can do open houses and auctions from Saturday onwards. So, what's really interesting? What's really interesting is that, and I know it was brought up by one Lisa Novak this morning, it's the only industry that's allowing groups to cluster. I think Lisa was saying Northern Territory or wherever it was can have groups of up to 10 at an open, numbers of 10 at an open. So that's really
10 buyers at an auction, 10 registered bidders at an auction in this market.
But that's even at an open house. So that's pretty nuts that there is an allowance to cluster people. It's not the restaurant business, not any other industry. So I think it shows the importance the government's weighed on the property industry for rentals and for sales and stuff like that. It's just super important.
Everything else still stands, doesn't it, Mark? Nothing else changes besides that. I think a few businesses were allowed to go back, physios and things like that last week.
I think next release is Friday. There's a big chat. We've got Mother's Day coming, and I reckon what they may do is just push everything past Mother's Day so people don't get silly on Mother's Day. True. So I think whatever comes out on Friday. But what a great job we're doing as a country. Far out.
Yep. So it's good to be in Ireland. There's your borders are pretty secure.
Yeah. And also we're going to have on, I believe, tonight at 8 o'clock on Novak News, travel agent talking about Julie.
Yes, beautiful. She had a very good post last week. Current Affair did a piece on that, which absolutely slammed the travel agency. I hadn't seen that, but I read Julie's post and I was appalled at the shit they're copying. I think tune in for that. That's interesting. And it's part of. I'm assuming that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And why are we doing it? It's part of our Support a Local. Julie's a local business, and on the Northern Beaches.
We've used her. She is phenomenal. She's the best.
Great. awesome. Been using it for years. And I think it's very important for everyone to have an understanding around that and how to support a local business in travel at the moment. I think there's good opportunities for domestic travel around Australia over the next 12 months that we're going to talk about a little bit. And yeah, she's on at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, Mark, I remember messaging her when we were in Thailand and my heading was like, emergency. And this was when coronavirus was going on. She calls me in like 30 seconds. Like, what's going on? Is it about the virus? I'm like, oh no, we just totally forgot we had to book a flight from Phuket back to the other airport. She's like, oh, when you put emergency in your heading, I thought it was something bad. I had to get you home. I was like, no, just forgot a flight.
The value of a travel agent, guys. I know. That's, and we went over that, didn't we?
Yeah, and I was like, why are we using travel agent? I can just book it here. And Mark's like, no, because when shit happens, she's there, or a travel agent's there to help. And I was like, all right, fine, we'll do that. And then when that happened, I would have, like, we're in Thailand, not much reception, nothing, can't really do anything where we were, and we're doing the bike ride.
It was a fundraiser, and we're on bicycles the whole time, so it's hard to get any time off a bike.
Yep, more internet, and yeah, it was amazing. So I highly recommend it. And her, she's amazing. So let's get her on and have a chat. That's good.
It's the better way when something goes wrong. You may pay a little bit more, but maybe not. But it's a better way.
100%. So all good, guys. Tune in for tonight.
Have a great day.
8 o'clock. Beautiful.
Thanks, Mr. Burgos. See everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.